Lilli, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jenelle. I'm excited to have this conversation. It's going to be good. I can feel it.
I will say the idea of epic magnetic love, I don't know if my brain is expanded enough to know that's possible. And as I just said to you right before this, I have had a hell of a love life over the past few months. And I was out doing a showing today, and my guy friend was like, so like, what's the update on your love life? And I said to him, I was like, someone needs to buy the rights to this movie because it could be a movie. So I am ready to be expanded by you with your story. And I know you have so much to tell and give advice on. So please let us leave this episode today with a better view on love, because that's what I need.
Okay. Well, girl, I have a lot of questions for you.
This is not how this works.
This happens often when I go on podcasts. People are like, oh, is this your podcast, Lilli, or is it mine? So you let me know and I'm here for you.
I had another friend on who's also a podcaster, and it ended up being like a very 50-50 podcast interview, but I love it. It's like having two co-hosts. It's a nice dynamic. But I want to ask a few questions about you because I do have you in the hot seat. I really want to talk about way before, because right now you have a lot better of a view on love. You believe in epic magnetic love. You teach people how to get that, but obviously you weren't like that before. Because you can only be a coach at something. You can only give advice on something if you've went through the experiences yourself. So I know you have.
Maybe. No, I absolutely. I do want to say first, this whole idea of epic, magnetic, extraordinary love is, you're right. It's something that I had no concept of. It's not a basic love, y'all. It's not a love that most of the people, at least the journey that I've been through, which I'll share, and the people that I work with, we don't want no basic love. We don't want these roommate situations. Like, I know I'm going to call some people out on this, and this whole podcast, I'm going to call people out, and good, like, come to me, come to Jenelle. Let's talk about it, because this stuff needs to be talked about. The people that I interact with in my circle, the healing that I've done, the people that I help with healing, they don't want that basic love. They want love that is expansive and vast and beautiful and just agape, like open your arms, come to me type of love. Most of us are either sold an idea of love, maybe in our younger years, or we're put on a path for, marriage, kids, white picket fence, and then it blows up. And we don't really get to make decisions about the kind of love that we want or the people that we want in our lives. So let me just say first that the love that you want, and I believe inherently the love that we all deserve and desire, is absolutely possible. It takes some time, it takes some healing, and it takes some learning. But like I said, it's not this 50-50 roommate type of situation that I want anyone in. Like, we deserve to be expansive and joyful and fulfilled in all of our lives. And love is really just a component that I've really honed in on in my journey and what I help people do now.
Well, tell me what love used to look like for you way back, and give me a timeline. Is this 5-10 years ago?
Well, so this is how I always start this story. And my name is Lilli, like I'm in AA. My name is Lilli. I love big, and I help other people love big too. I did not used to be this way. I did not used to be a place where I could be so outward and explicit about how big my love is or was. The old Lilli used to still had the same heart, but loved big and sacrificed herself. Loved big and wasn't able to express her needs and desires. Loved big and did it for validation. Loved big and did it for affirmation. And this was a long journey. Like, to put a timeline on it, I think it's my life, really. Basically, it was my life. Growing up in a household that was, I don't know if we talk about trauma here, Jenelle, but there was a lot of, so let's get in deep. If you know me and you find me on Instagram, you'll know that I go deep real fast if people will let me. So I appreciate this space.
Hell yes.
Yes. So there were a lot of all the traumas in the book in my household when I was growing up. And that forced me to be in a place when I was younger where I did have to be, you could put terms on it. I'm not a huge fan of labels, but that environment made me have to respond in a way that I had to put myself last always. And in that environment, it was a way of survival. What happens is when we get into adult life and we are out there doing the dating thing, normally, if we grow up in those households, maybe when we were maybe emotionally neglected, maybe even more severely neglected, we don't really have the skills to connect with people like at a real and vulnerable level, to assess what we need and what we desire, and finally to say explicitly what we need and desire, which is a lot about relationship, right? So again, like that is not something that I grew up with or into. So throughout my life, I was in these relationships where I wasn't seen, I wasn't heard, I wasn't understood. Frequent complaints that I had was, why don't you see me? Why don't you understand me? I don't understand. There's just a lot of, I thought that I was being very explicit in my communication, but I really wasn't. Not because I was bad, because I didn't know how. So it's kind of more than a skill set, but that's like the basics. The thing that it came to a head for me was my last very unhealthy relationship. We were together on and off for about 8 years. We did the breakup and get back together cycle 4 or 5 times. And this was a relationship where I was detrimentally not seen and heard. I was in physical danger. I had to call the cops a couple times. I had to put a restraining order against him. And obviously this was a situation that wasn't good for me, but there was something that just kept inside of me, kept repeating this pattern. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel lovable. The last time I got with him was after all of this happened. And I remember saying to myself, I was aware enough that I saw the pattern in he and I's relationship, almost very similar to what I saw in my mom and dad, who are still together. And I resigned myself. I remember the day that I said this to myself, and I said this to him. This is all I deserve. You're my person. I thought that he was my person because I was repeating the same patterns, and that was just what that's all that I was worth. There was one night at the end of this relationship, and it was my birthday. And on birthdays, y'all, let's say, that we want to feel special.
Yes, there's a lot of pressure.
Yes. I used to not have a great relationship with my birthday because that was the one day that I was supposed to feel loved. Well, the last birthday with him, I did not feel loved. Go figure. And I remember we got into an argument or something that night. I wasn't feeling great. I really, there are a lot of things that, looking back on that, like skills I didn't have. I wasn't emotionally connected to myself. I wasn't emotionally connected to him. But I remember I was just so confused and sad. And I didn't understand how I ended up in this place. For decades of my life before then, I was a box checker. I checked all the boxes. I had the dope ass resume. I was working for great companies. I would beat people out for like thousands of people out for jobs. I was making 6 figures. I was in a relationship that looked good on the outside, was not great on the inside, y'all. And I didn't understand. I was so upset that night. I went in the bedroom bawling and crying and just so upset. I didn't understand. My family really wasn't there to support me. Felt like, I was isolated. I was on my own. My friends weren't really my friends. They were a lot of acquaintances. So I really just felt like everything was crashing down on me. I did not understand. I was crying and I was like to myself, I'm like, I just want to be happy. Like, I just want to be happy. I didn't know how to do it. I was doing everything that I was supposed to do. I'm like getting emotional even thinking about it. And the idea popped in my head, and trigger warning, y'all, trigger warning. I want to put that out there, that there was a gun in the drawer next to me. And never in my life had I thought about suicide ever. I was always a doer. Like I got things done. I did. And at that point, it wasn't working. It just wasn't working. Everything wasn't working. And so I didn't really know what else to do. So I pulled out the gun and I held it in my hands. And I remember it was so cold and it was so unfeeling. And like, again, the first time I'd ever done this, I was about to go through with it. And I remember something clicked inside of me. I don't know if it's like divine or spirit or however, if you're listening to this, whatever you connect with, but something inside me said, there's more, there's more. And that was the night that I realized that I had choice. But the first time ever in my life that I had choice. I had choice to do what was in my hand. I had choice to not be here on earth forever. And if I could have choice to do that brave and courageous act, quote unquote, then I had choice to change. And so that was the night that I opened up to something different. I didn't know what it was. It's not like I snapped my fingers and I'm healed. It's not like I knew exactly what I was going to do, but something about knowing that I had choice, because I really didn't feel like I had choice through my whole life. I looked like I did, but I really, really didn't, because I wasn't acting for me. And so that was the night that everything changed.
Wow.
Thanks for listening.
No, that was good. I'm so sorry you went through that, even just like being in that moment, but I can understand you telling that story. I can understand how you get there. But most people don't, because on the outside, as I always say, you are making six figures. You have the job, you have the resume, you have the boyfriend, you're beautiful. What more could you want? How bad could your life be? But you had all the boxes checked off, but it sounds like nothing inside was checked off at all. Like at all. Like it sounds like empty to me.
Yeah. And I don't feel like, I know that my experience is not unique, but what I realized that I'm here to do is to talk about the fucking things that people do not talk about.
That's what this
podcast
is about.
Yeah. And that is my, like, on a larger picture, that is my purpose and my mission. People do not talk about going home and pinching yourself in the mirror and hating your body. People will talk about how to lose weight, but people won't talk about how you feel and how alone that you feel and how scared that you feel to do things by yourself, or how scary it is to set boundaries and what happens when they come back at you. People will give you tactics, but they won't tell you how to heal those inner parts of you so that you can actually like do things to make your life better.
I know. And I agree. It's always tactics that are given to us. And you and I are, like you said, are doers. We get shit done. But I find, and you tell me if you resonate with this, I find for me, I love a to-do list because it means I don't have to deal with all the other crap inside of me. I'm getting better. I will say over the last few months, I'm making a shift to take note of what's going on inside and sit with those emotions and deal with the crap. But it's a lot easier to go find a to-do list item to do and avoid all of those emotions. So much easier.
100%. And we have been trained in many ways, and we're validated. We are validated for status. We're validated for accomplishments and achievements. And this doesn't diminish that at all. And there is such a thing as alignment. There is such a thing as balance. There is such a thing as, asking for help or whatever, whatever it is. But yeah, absolutely. And we don't, again, the people do not talk about what happens when this happens, like burnout happens, like going into a relationship, for example, I talk about love and relationship, going to a relationship that is really maybe a soother, or it's an attempt to soothe a part of you that is feeling really anxious or has a lot of anxiety or overwhelm. And the attachment isn't not a real attachment, but it's an attachment based off of unhealthy need or something like that.
I saw a quote the other day, and it basically said, it's not the job or the partner or the vacation that you want. You want the version of you who you are when you have it. And
Exactly.
holy crap, did that ever resonate with me?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm in a relationship, I love that version of me. I'm a really, on a good day, I'm a really good version of me while I'm in a
Mm.
relationship. But I have to ask myself, but do I want to be with that person? And it's how do I figure out how to be that person outside of that other person in that relationship?
Mm.
So that's something that hit me recently. And I'm like, ooh, okay, let's sit with that one.
Yeah. And I like you hit on something there because I think we know deep down that being in a love relationship like this, like a special, epic, extraordinary relationship will bring out the best in us. The problem that I see most is who do we choose? And normally some of us, some of us is listening, some of us, like I'm raising my hand, y'all, we choose the wrong people based off of our past trauma wounds or past wounds from the past, or even like your last relationship, or even like what you're feeling right now is what you're talking about. But absolutely.
Or what society and our family and friends say we should be with.
Dude, yeah. And I'm doing an event coming up and I'm preparing for it. And this kind of just hit me, but y'all remember Disney, right? Obviously. Ariel in The Little Mermaid, sit with me here, willingly gave up her voice to be with the dude, whoever the fuck that guy is. I forgot his name, Prince Charming, let's just say. So let me repeat that. Ariel willingly gave up her voice to be with a man.
And that's what we're showing little girls.
Mind blown.
Mm-hmm.
Women have, like, in general, like, not just this, like, this is just one example, but women's voices. Think about it. Your voice. I hear a lot on Instagram, speak your truth. You know, even in relationship, we do have to figure out how to like speak our truth, voice our desires. You know, I was born in the South in the United States, where, you know, there's a lot of cultural, there's so many different factors, right? There's countries, regions, states, you know, family dynamics. There's so many, socioeconomic, all the things. But I grew up in the South where it was like women are seen, not heard, right? Just smile, look pretty, do as I say, not as I do. You know, all of this stuff. We get through it. We get through it. But the thing is if we want this like gorgeous, delicious love with a romantic partner, are you fulfilled in staying in this paradigm?
But I mean, we have so much to heal before we're ready for that type of love that we all know we want.
Mm.
Like so much healing. But I do believe, and I've said this many times, I don't think you need to become a perfect person to be able to be in a relationship. I don't think you need to heal it all. There's always going to be stuff to heal. But I
Mm-hmm.
think you definitely need to be aware of what you need to heal.
Yeah,
How do
I
we
think,
get there?
yeah, in some respects, I agree that there is a lot, like that's one of the biggest dating myths I think that I see is that, oh, I need to do this before I do this. Danger. And it's danger because like what you're saying, Jenelle, like, do we ever get there? I like, for me, healing is like the way that I live my life. It's a value. It's a constant assessment, growth, personal growth and development is a thing that is just, that's how I live. Right. And that's just me. It doesn't have to be you. And there is, you know, there is a part of us. So if that's like something that is playing in your head, my suggestion would be to look at that part and see what kind of fear is behind there, right? You know, there's fear there, is my guess. But yeah, that's one of the biggest dating myths that I think that I see, because we are never going to hit a plateau. And if you are listening to this podcast, if you are, like, you know, in Janelle's community, if you get in my community, that's not my people. All of my people are continuing to do personal growth and development and accepting yourself where you are, loving yourself where you are, the process that you're in right now. You will be able still, no matter where you are, right, to open up to someone, or at least the experience of dating the experience of mistakes, the experience of like quote unquote failure, right? Or just like the experience of learning opportunities while you're out there dating.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you touch on like mistakes and healing. And I believe that you can heal while still being in a relationship. I was dating someone recently that, let's just say, I left that relationship feeling that if I was to date that person, I can't be human with that person. There's no room for mistakes. There's no room for failure. There's no room for being human. You're not allowed to get upset about anything. It's kind of what I feel. What when I look back and reflect, that's kind of what I feel. So God forbid, there's definitely not any room for healing while being in that relationship. The sense I get from that person is you need to come into this relationship already perfect with a bow on. But I'm a smart girl. That's just projection, is what I'm hearing. Because that's not me. I think that's him saying, I don't feel like I can be in this relationship until I'm perfect. It's not me.
True.
What do you think?
I would agree. And I would say that there's a mirror to that as well, just like what you're talking about, which is if we are the woman and we're out there dating and we're looking for a perfection. Another thing that I have a problem with in the dating world is this idea of writing qualities and maybe a letter to your potential soulmate. I'm not banging it, but what I know what happens with that is there's a fine line between knowing what you want and then also not being open to opportunity of finding out who a man is.
Agreed.
Right. So knowing all of that is awesome, right? Like maybe having like 2 or 3 big values that you really like or something like that is really important. But I see this a lot in the quote unquote conscious dating community because people say, I want a conscious relationship. If you ask, well, what is a conscious relationship? It's hard to describe, right? And there's an archetype that I have. Actually, I have a few different dating archetypes we can get into, but one of them is the fortress woman. And the fortress woman is quick to judge. She's really quick she's on the apps. She is swiping, but she's like real quick to judge. She doesn't mess around. She's the first to delete, first to block.
This is me.
Yeah.
Used to be me. I'm getting better.
Yeah. So
people say I swipe so quick. They're like, did you even see what he looked like? And I'm like, I know. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and that is, I mean, it's hard. We're in this weird world where we're swiping and we're trying to figure out who these men are. And it's like, there's no doubt that this is just like a weird place to be. And, how open are we to seeing who this man is? Like how open, does he, like what we were talking about, going back to what you're saying, Jenelle, does he have to already be at a place? Or are you okay with where you are and being able to be distinctive, to ask real questions, to, set dating boundaries and stick with them so that you actually give him some space to show him who he really is?
But it's hard coming from whatever your previous relationship is. That's now your new standard. That's now your not standard, but that's now your new guidebook. And it's so hard to remove those experiences away and then just be in your body again and trusting your intuition, because it's going to be so hard for me to go back into the dating world and not have my guard up, but it's also going to be afraid to be emotional, going to be afraid to have emotions or be upset by anything, because this past relationship taught me not allowed to be upset, not allowed to have any kind of erratic behavior, not allowed to be triggered by anything. And Laura knows I get triggered. I'm working on it.
We all do.
But it's gonna happen.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump in and say, yes. like triggering, y'all, triggering is a good thing.
Agreed.
Triggering is a good thing. The thing that happens after you get triggered, that's where it gets messy. Yeah. And if you're right, I mean, I don't really know exactly what happened in this relationship or how it went down, but I can imagine that maybe he didn't do well with when you get triggered.
Nope.
It's Right. So not only is it the people that get triggered, he or us, how do we communicate that? How do we speak our needs and desires from our own self energy and ask for what we need in this situation? If we don't know, we don't know. But do we say that? No, more often than not. Then the second part is, how does he deal with it when you get triggered, right? He gets triggered, right?
Yeah.
So it's that whole thing.
Buckets of gasoline.
Yeah,
Buckets.
it's so good. Yes, yeah.
But Lilli, for me, I feel like that is such a clear opportunity to me of growth and an opportunity to have a deeper connection. But when one person sees it as red flag, toxic, obviously we're not meant to be together if we're getting triggered by each other. What? No, that's not how I view it at all. I view it as, oh, damn, we're triggering each other. Oh, damn, the universe wants us to grow through something. Want to grow together? Oh, you don't? Okay, well, whatever.
Okay.
You know, what do you think?
I have questions.
Okay, ask them, but I need to bring you on to do a solo up and you just ask me the questions.
So you got triggered.
I reacted horribly during my triggers.
Okay. Like how?
Oh, like just insecurity, just fight or flight, just hostile coldness, like the typical being in a bad mood and being upset.
Okay. And so did you say I'm triggered in this, or he just noticed that something's wrong with you and then it kind of goes downhill type of thing?
Both.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is he's probably not used to dealing with that kind of stuff either. He seems to be the type that kind of likes things smooth sailing. But that doesn't work for me. And we go back right to the beginning where we all want that romantic love, that epic magnetic love. And to me, I need that. I need a little volatility. I need to know that if there's going to be a little bit of a fight, like we'll hash it out and we'll get through it. But if someone just wants that smooth sailing, no rocking the boat, I'm sorry, that's a boring ass roommate to me that I probably don't speak to. So I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics at play, right?
Yeah.
Women often are told that they are too much. Often.
Oh, so I'm doing what they call shadow work, and that one's coming up for me. Too much. Yeah. I've been told by many partners, majority, that I'm too much.
Yeah. So the way that I've seen it play out, and this doesn't have to be, just like detaching maybe a little bit from your experience, but in general, the way that I've seen it play out is when a man thinks that a woman is too much, then he is not enough.
Interesting way to look at it.
Right. So, we're talking about this and we're talking about personal development and we're talking about, we started into this about getting triggered and what have you and what happens, and all this stuff. What it comes down to, like what I figured out in my healing is the right people. Getting triggered with the right people.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm down to get triggered.
Yeah. And you're right. Triggering. That's why I love trigger. I want to debunk triggers are not bad in the right situations with the right people. They are healing opportunities. They are healing opportunities with the right people in the right situation. People, more oftentimes than not, people hear me say this. They ask, well, how do I choose the right people? Right. Heal. You heal the wounded parts of us. And I have a whole framework on this. Just, come find me on Instagram and what have you. But we have to heal the wounded parts of us. Maybe that we see, maybe that we know, maybe that we don't know. But I can tell you definitively, if you are seeing a pattern of attracting an emotionally unavailable man, a man that keeps saying that you're too much. If you're at the awareness point where you are seeing a pattern of 3 or more times, then I lovingly would love to point the spotlight back, not at you, Jenelle, but people that are listening, back at us. That is our responsibility to heal. When patterns show up and, on Instagram, it's like a lot about, oh, the other person this, the other person that. No, it's within us. You're not attracting the wrong people. You are attracting the right people to help you heal that pattern.
Yeah. And that's the only reason why I have not been totally distraught in the past month. I'm like, not even really, I'm sad, but I'm not really mourning anything because I'm seeing it in such a way that I'm seeing as, thank God you came into my life, because I would have been continuing this pattern over and over and over again. I would have been 40 years old and no one would have stopped me.
Yeah. And we have to be careful about this conversation, like kind of where we arrived. Cause I want to say, like, you've heard my story, you know, that I've been in not great situations. I put myself in danger a lot when I, back in the day. We have to be careful right at this point in the juncture, from what I know, of bypassing the effect of that shitty behavior, putting ourselves in that situation, the effect of, and the trauma that it has caused, where the growth point is accepting that that's what happened. And then, like, my love method, step one is looking at patterns. Like, we're basically going through my love method. So I'll share that. My love method for finding epic magnetic love is, one, look at your patterns as information. Take shame, take blame, take those energies just for a minute. You don't have to like throw them away or like pretend they're not there, but just like put them in your pocket for a second and look at your patterns as information, right? So if you're seeing a pattern that's happening 3 or more times, then it's within you to heal. What it is, you probably don't know, but that's when you start to do the work. That's when you look out for support, someone like me or someone like me or whatever. The next step is open up to a better way. A lot of times we get in these patterns, us like, type A type of people, we like to control. That is the way that we have gotten by in life. And that will not work in this situation if we are trying to break through these love and relationship patterns. So opening up to a better way activates hope. It activates, like, hope is like a self-love activator. And it's like, it's binary. Either you have hope or you don't. So in the moment, are you at least open to something else? You may not know what it is. It's not going to be a tactic. I can tell you that. The V part of that is value your energy. So look at your energy when you are triggered. Look at your energy when you are on the dating apps, when you're swiping. When are you swiping? Like, if you're at the stoplight and you're swiping, I see you. Check it. Because if you're bored, if you're at night, you're bored, you're watching TV or Netflix and you're swiping, is that the kind of love that you want to bring in? No. And then E is embody your truth. And if you don't know what your truth is, that's okay, right? Find a practice once a day for a week of something behavior oriented where you are embodying a truth within you, whether that be like saying no when you wanted to say yes, or say yes when you wanted to say no, even if you don't know how, right? And start to embody your truth. If you feel a calling to, I don't know, like, have some ice cream, freaking have some ice cream, embody your truth. If that's what you want, like what your truth is, like from your heart, from your self energy, from your aligned self, honor it, embody it, make your behaviors right. Make your behaviors right. Because if we're trying to break a pattern, we haven't really trusted ourselves. So we have to start getting back to our intuition.
I love the point you made about, when are you downloading the apps? Because I've made a vow to myself that I'm not downloading any apps until I hit a few goals that I really want to achieve. Because I download the apps during 2 times: when I'm looking for an ego boost or validation, during times I feel lonely, not the energy I want to embody. And the other time is when I'm procrastinating, when I know there's something I need to get done, but I'm like, oh, let's just swipe here and boom, boom. Oh, look, 3 hours gone. And I'm like, I know my patterns. I know I will be doing this for all the wrong reasons. And I know I will be doing it not even to find anyone. So what a waste of everyone else's time too. So I'm refusing.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
It's the thing. I mean, it's almost as much as an epidemic as like scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, right?
I tell my friends it's a slot machine to me. And I'd rather just go to the slot machine. I think there's a better chance of winning.
Well, yeah, I would agree if yeah.
But it's true. And I've seen it in my friends a lot of the times too, is the download and deleting cycle that you talk about. It's bad. Like it's really bad. And I think everyone, like you said, needs to ask themselves, what are my intentions of downloading this app right now? Is it to really go find love and really to meet someone? Am I in a place to even have the time and the energy for that in my life? Or am I just looking for a little bit of an ego boost? Am I looking for the validation? Am I looking for the affirmation? Am I looking to stick it to an ex to be like, hey, I'm back quicker than you? That is bad energy. I don't like it. And I want to be part of it. Right now, I don't, because I'm not in a position to be.
Yeah. And I think that like we're having a very up-level conversation about this because again, like no one talks about this. You know, people will tell you how to maximize your profile and don't forget to put these pictures on there and blah, 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 blah. Answer this question. Make sure you look friendly. Make sure there's all this other shit out there. That shit does not matter if you are on the apps looking to feel validated, affirmed, if you want somebody to entertain you, because what happens is you will get caught. You will get caught up if we aren't checking our energy for sure.
I want to dig deeper into validation and affirmation. And I want to turn the tables to you a little bit. I was obsessed with the post that you put out the other day. And I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about.
I don't, but like,
don't? I read every single slide of it. And I might have been like going to bed while reading it, but I loved it. It was the one where you said, let me pull it up right now. I slept with 2 men in one day. I was so disconnected from myself that I needed others to fill me up. It was an obsession. Feeling needed and wanted was the only way I was worthy, especially with men. A lot of people feel that way, especially as women. Now, is that the old you before you did some healing?
Yeah. Well, this was actually, oh yeah, the girl's airing out her dirty laundry and I'm proud.
You posted it.
I know. No. And I'm glad. I can't believe I didn't remember that, but I did get a lot of good feedback about that because this is the shit that no one talks about. And so many women were like, oh my God, like, yep, that's me. And their behaviors may not have been the same as mine, but the way that they felt.
It was just so authentic and raw and real. And
I'll be real.
We're not the only person that slept with 2 people in one day. Come on.
No, absolutely not. And like, yeah, y'all are not alone if you're listening to this. What I do want to, like, I was my own pimp. I pimped myself out. I pimped myself out for these baseline fleeting connection, these short-term instances of intimacy. I was my own pimp. Crazy.
Yeah.
And to answer your question about when this kind of went down, this was actually a couple years into my healing journey. Most of the clients that come to me these days are women that have already done a lot of healing and are pretty aware in that they kind of know that what they're doing is wrong. They know like their attachment style. They may even lead people in therapy or in like these types of conversations or as a coach. But some part of, like, I think I mentioned in that post that I felt like a hypocrite because on the outside, I was supposed to be this conscious, woke woman, yet I was doing these things on the low to feel worthy and validated. One of the last like really messed up kind of relationships that I'm in, like I hooked a 21-year-old or some shit. And then my ego loved that. but it wasn't good for me.
It
It was
doesn't last
not
very
good for
long.
me. It was not, I'm like, it was not good for me.
And by last very long, I mean the high of that, the ego high does not last very long. We go and try to fill that void very quickly after.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and this is probably a whole other podcast episode, but there are biological things that happen with women when we bond with sex. The reason, and I was that woman, the chill woman, for example, is not another archetype that I have.
The cool girl.
Yeah. She's the girl. And I was that girl on the outside. I could sleep with them. I could be friends. I could I could hang out and all this stuff. But at home, it wasn't like that. It was anxiety. It was racing thoughts. It was overthinking. It was any tactic that I could come up with to get them to like me, see me, come over, sleep with me, I fucking did it. And I was good at it. But that shit does not serve. It does not serve.
How do we get away from that though? Like, how do we stop doing things to get their attention? When do we stop caring?
I know that you're familiar, and I'm assuming your audience is too, with secure attachment.
Mm-hmm.
And secure attachment, I call it the magnetic woman. The magnetic woman, she has a lot of great qualities, but one of them is knowing that you're going to be okay whether they stay or they go, right? There are a lot of, I want to say this before I start going into the magnetic woman, there's a lot of stuff out there that you'll just see out there on Instagram, like you got to have more self-love to feel loved or whatever. Does not serve if we don't do the work to have self-love on the inside. So the short answer to your question, Jenelle, is heal. Again, I'm pointing you in the right direction. If you see 3 or more patterns happening 3 or more times, you got something to heal. That's just it. You don't have to know what it is. I know you're smart. I know you know your attachment style, but if you don't want that anymore, maybe try something different. Try a different therapist. Like I have clients who are like, I've been going to therapy. I don't know. It's just my thing. It's my gift. But I've been going to therapy for 2 years, but I've never gotten this far. I just I call myself the cleanup crew. For whatever reason, I just get in there and I get deep. But the magnetic woman is the woman that magnetizes love. It's the woman that I strive to be 80% of the time. There's nobody that's perfect. And anybody that like that dude that you're talking about, ain't no thing, right? There is nobody that is perfect. The magnetic woman is the woman that I strive to be. And what I teach, because I embody this, and I'm proud to say that. And that's what I teach my people. But she knows who she is and what she wants. And it's more than what you've written down on paper, friends. It's more than what you've written down on paper. It's the embodiment of your values, the embodiment of your worth, the embodiment of your self-love. She messes up, yes, but she's also loving and caring of herself when she does, right? She sets boundaries and sticks with them, especially in dating, because dating is most of the people that have stuck around this long in this conversation, I know that you are caring. I know that you are kind. I know that you're loving. I know that in your head, you may just give them a little bit too much room. So there's a very fine line of where your values and what's super important and what can maybe we can talk about type of thing. The magnetic woman knows how to receive love deeply. Thank you. Thank you. Received, right? She asks for what she wants, and she's okay with if she gets it or if she doesn't. It's a big one, right? The magnetic woman knows that if she knows what she needs, she knows how to get it with or without this man. She wants this man. She wants this man to give it to her. She will ask for it, but if she gets it or she doesn't, it has nothing to do with her, right? It's deep, right?
It's so hard to be secure though when you're crushing hard. You're
working hard and being
crushing hard on someone.
Crushing. Oh, you're right.
Don't you find? I find all of your rules and boundaries go out the window, and it's almost like you don't even recognize yourself anymore.
Yeah.
And what attracted that person in initially, they get to the door and they're like, wait, that's not who I thought I was going to date. And it's because we throw her away. Why do we do that?
Well, short answer is that it's not really you that is present. It's not you that is wanting and crushing. It's a younger part of you. That's the healing. It's the younger part of you that, didn't get the love or affirmation from her father, or that maybe got bullied on the playground, or maybe was, like, for me, straight A student, like doing everything right, but I never really felt like I was loved. I was cared for. So that's the short answer. The short answer is it's not you that's leading. And that's the part, like the part of healing, I feel like. So like trauma, emotional trauma, the way that I see it, it has us like look out of life at like a lens that's like the size of a pinpoint. It's really small. So when you start to heal, you start to kind of open up space and it becomes like the size of a quarter. And then you maybe open up, you heal, it's like you're unlayering and it opens up like the size of like an orange, and you just keep unlayering. It doesn't happen overnight. And like that is one of the strongest, like that wounding is really one of the strongest woundings that we have, because all that part wants is to be loved. That's it. That is it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the short answer is it's not you. It's just the part of you that's leading the interaction with the dude that's really hot. It gets caught up in that.
I hate that.
Well, it's completely normal. It's a thing for sure. And it's not about like ignoring those parts of us. It's about coming into new relationship with those parts so that they can get the love that they are desiring from. Maybe it's you, maybe it's like play, maybe it's like other, different types of things. But yeah.
When I find we're our most secure? When we don't really like the guy. Yeah. And we are a cool girl then because we just don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we could embody that when we really do like someone.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a common thing that I have with my clients too, is that whole dynamic of why am I like, it's a pattern, it's a pattern of like, why am I so attracted to this man when he doesn't want anything to do with me? And why do I not abhor, but like, why is there's a connection there with this man I'm not really attracted to? And it's just like the lens that we're looking through from the dating perspective is a wounded lens. Like it doesn't just happen overnight. You can't just automatically have like a connection with someone. It's like there's a part of you that really only knows chaos or only knows how to be needy, because that's the only way that it's gotten love before. So the dynamic, it just needs to change on the inside, and that's what the healing is.
What are you healing these days? In love and dating? In love and dating, yeah.
In love and dating.
What are you working towards? Working through?
Love and dating, I really can't. That's a great question. I can't think of anything that I'm not really secure on at this point in love and dating. Yeah.
What used to trigger you a lot?
I can tell you the last thing that I healed. I can tell you that.
Yes, please.
The last kind of thing that I had to heal was the scarcity piece around men.
Meaning there's no good men left, or?
Yeah, there's no good men. They're already taken. They're really hard to find. So that was my last layer. And not to say, again, like we're talking about, I know that other layers are going to come up, like within relationship, as people get closer. What I've realized though, and this is a benefit, if I may be so bold as to tout my work, the benefit to doing this healing work, at least the way that I've done it and the way that I teach my clients, is that we find out, without being the fortress woman and closing our heart and not being open to anything, we find out really quickly, like within a week, who is good and who is bad, like this. and it's easy. It's not anxiety and overwhelm. It's calm and it feels good. It feels aligned. It feels like there's just a next level when you kind of go through this healing process. So like I was saying, the last kind of layer that I had to heal, and I know there will be more to come, and I'm loving it. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. I step into that shit now because I know it's gonna be good on the other side. Was the scarcity piece. And there was a younger part of me that really didn't know, like, she basically was abandoned, didn't have any type of real connection or real love or anything like that. So that was a big layer that I had to heal. And now, I mean, I'm currently, I am, to be transparent, I am dating right now. I'm not in a long-term relationship, but what I can say is the quality of men that I'm magnetizing is ridiculous.
You never thought they'd come into your life? Didn't even think they were possible?
I would dream about it.
Huh?
Sure. I could fantasize about it. Sure. But actually coming to me and being open to connection with me and me being myself, like what you're talking about. Lesson number one, heal. Like, it took healing, right? But I surprised myself on who I was magnetizing. And the good news is it's like, people say that dating sucks. Y'all, dating doesn't suck. Your experience with dating sucks. So how do you change your experience around dating? I love dating. It's fun because I'm aligned, because I speak up, because I ask for what I need. I give people, again, the magnetic woman gives men the opportunity to observe. So all of that is information, right? And so just information. I don't get angry. I don't get vengeful. I don't get shut down. I don't get anxious. But what I'm just receiving, I'm open because I'm so healed within myself. I'm open to receiving somebody dope, honestly. Yeah.
One of the biggest things I always hear in dating, and I think is really great advice, is whoever you are searching for out there, are you that person yet? You want someone that's killing it in their job. You want someone that has a great apartment. You want someone that's close to their family. Are you all of those things yet? Do you have a bad relationship with your family? Heal that relationship with your family, and maybe you'll attract someone that has a great relationship with their family. So that's something that I always keep in mind. Like, if one of my things were, I need someone that's really fit and loves like working out all the time. Do I even do that? And if I don't, then I need to embody that before I can expect someone else to be that,
Yeah. Although I would challenge that.
Please.
If you were my client, I would probably challenge that a little bit.
Please.
And this is why. Is like, for example, I want somebody that's really fit. Why? Throw out something, just like random.
That's not my example for me.
So somebody, so you're like,
mine is, I'm like, I'm using that because a lot of other girls are like, I need someone with 6-pack abs. Like, I don't care about that stuff. So for me, and I was telling all of my friends and my mom this lately, I need someone that's intelligent. I cannot date a dumb person. So continue.
So why
do I need someone that's intelligent? To have intelligent conversations with.
Okay. So it sounds like having intelligent conversations is important to you.
Yes.
Right. So let's see, what the question, I guess, would be, what about intelligent conversations is important to you?
There's passion behind them. The people who can have intelligent conversations means they are caring about something outside of the mundane of the day. They're actually thinking about things. They're not just like robotic, just in their day, just doing things to get through the day. They're actually thinking about things. Okay.
So that, like you said, he's passionate about something. Maybe does he like to learn?
Yes. Learning and knowledge needs to be very huge values.
Yeah. Okay. So really quick, we went down to, he needs to be intelligent, to actions that he might display. Right? Does that make sense? Like, he needs to be intelligent, going down to he needs to be passionate. So what, maybe the next step would be, how do you know if somebody's passionate about something? So what I'm getting at is that what you said, I feel is maybe a little bit of tweaking, because what we were talking about before about people need to be at a healing place before we need to get together with somebody is dangerous, because these check marks on the list are dangerous, because we can have, like, think of, like, I don't know, Kanye. He's got money, he's got success, but how does he treat his women? So what I'm saying is there's a difference between like values and behaviors, for example, and check marks on the list. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I find
So like
maybe we
if
use
somebody's saying,
adjectives, but we actually mean like, no, I actually want to just see this type of behavior, but we label it with an adjective.
yeah, or frame the behavior as like to why, like, oh, is he passionate about something, or does he just go to a job and he comes home and play video games or some shit, right? Like he probably won't gel with you, and through time you'll see that. And that's like a very extreme example, right?
Yeah.
But like my past relationship I was talking about, he talked about himself all the time, and he was passionate about himself, right?
Yeah, he was passionate about something.
Yeah, exactly. So, right. So we have to be careful about even what you're talking about. And I'm just challenging that, Jenelle, is that like, oh, he has to have a good family, and I have to have a good family. All right. Well, what does that mean? Like, how do you want to feel when you're with his family? How do you want to feel when you're with your family, or, that kind of thing? And so that's just like something, just a little bit of a deeper conversation, rather than just the qualities, because people can get caught up in those qualities.
And they can live by them. And then they're almost,
that's the problem.
Yeah. Then they're meeting people and they're like, oh, well, you didn't check that box, so no. And like you said earlier, you're not even allowing yourself to actually get to know anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge, it's a protective mechanism, especially for our control-minded people, which I know we are. And I know you are if you're listening too.
Oh God, I am. Okay. Last couple of questions for you, because we just need to set this up so you come back again, because there's still lots to talk about. Obviously, that is one big mistake that people are making in dating, where they're making a list and checking it twice, essentially. But what are some other common mistakes that you're seeing in women and men in dating that's really preventing them from actually finding the love that they want?
We covered some common myths that I see, which is, there's a lot of tactics out there about like, oh, what you should put on your profile and all this stuff. And we went through my love method, which I feel like would really help if you are pretty self-aware. Something that I see in the personal development world a lot, which is like people are starting to know more about their attachment style, which is great, right? Like it's great information. It's amazing as like a first step in your healing journey. But what I'm seeing more and more as people learn more about this is that they know that they have their anxious attachment style, and they're seeing these self-defeating and self-sabotaging behaviors like sleeping with them really quickly, having, anxiety and overwhelm, that pattern, what we talked about before, which is like, why am I attracted to all the wrong people? There's a disconnect in knowing your attachment style is not enough anymore. It was at a time when all of this was coming out, because you're able to put two and two together. But at this point, most of us can be like, oh, he's anxious attachment, he's avoidant attachment, I'm this. And that is supposed to be just like the way that you heal. And it's not. It is not. So one myth that I see is like just knowing your attachment style is enough. And like, I love like holistic psychologist, right? She's dope and she puts out a lot of information, but I don't think she talks enough about like it's information. When we have these cognitive things happening in our head, like overthinking, and we know what to do, but we can't do it. Or here's another one. We know what we don't want, but we can't get what we do want. That is the disconnect. Like that is the disconnect. So just knowing your attachment style is a great first step. It's not enough.
Because we go back to the same thing. We label it and then we think, oh, well, because he's that attachment style, this Instagram post said that's not a match for my attachment style. So guess it's not meant to be. And it's like, well, no, why don't you try to understand each other and learn from each other and communicate?
Yeah. Or like heal
Or
heal your attachment style, or at least work on it while you're dating, and one of my programs, it's a 6-month program. For the first 3 months of the program, I can't tell people what to do, but my recommendation normally is to get off the apps so we can heal. And then the last part of the program, if they want, they are able to get on the app so we can work through all of the triggers, because like I said, I tell this to my clients, when we get on the apps, we are going to Trigger Town. We are on the highway to Trigger Town. And so healing those triggers in a safe container while they come up. And y'all, safe container is not your friends. And I'm sorry to say that.
Not your therapist.
And it may not be.
Your friends aren't your therapist. I mean,
no, your friends are not your therapist, right? Like, your friends are amazing. I know that. And I also know that all of their shit is going to come up too when you're dating, right?
I get what you're saying. Trust me. It's funny. I always say, don't ask for advice from people who don't have the life that you want. So if you are having some trouble with dating or relationships and whatnot, don't ask your single friends for advice. Ask someone that you admire their marriage or their long-term relationship. Ask them what they think. So anytime having dating issues or figuring out love, I always ask my friends who are in long-term relationships or engaged or married. I don't ask my single friends. I'll tell them what's up, but I don't take their advice for gospel at all.
Yeah, that's good. Because I do see a lot of people out there that are in like these like Facebook communities and shit like that, where they'll ask for advice and
they're projecting. They're giving you the advice that
it's not good. It's not good.
They don't even know your situation.
Yeah. How about let's, like what you said, Jenelle, let's heal so we can create our own decisions, so we can listen to our own intuitions, so that if we do need support from our friends, we could be like, hey, I'm going through this. Can you support me by this? Not going to your friends and being like, oh my God, this is so horrible. I hate dating. Dating sucks. And oh, let me look at your profile. And this goes downhill real fast, y'all. It goes downhill real fast. Oh, let me look at your profile. Oh, no, I don't like this picture. You should be saying this. And then all of a sudden you are outside of your body. You are no longer yourself. The road is slippery and icy.
Isn't it? Okay. Final last words of advice. How can we do something today? Not tactic, but we keep telling people heal. But give us something. What do we do today, this week, and how we heal? How do we get back into our body?
Yeah, great question. So I actually have a free gift for your listeners, Jenelle. They can just go to findepiclove.com, and on that is a free download of my love method that we talked about, love method for finding epic magnetic love. It's a workbook. And I would say start with look at your patterns as information. That's it. I mean, really, that's it. If you put the blame and the shame and the stuff that doesn't feel good, I know it's not good for now, just put it away for a minute and just look at your patterns as information. That's a great first step. Being open to a better way. Is the way that you've been going working, right? Who knows? Value your energy. We talked all about that today. Embody your truth. Here's, one thing that you can do to embody your truth is talk to yourself and give yourself. It's more than self-talk in the brain. Y'all, I'm sick of the mindset talk. The mindset, love mindset, we don't talk about that a lot, but anything that talks about mindset is not talking about the behaviors, the actions, what we're saying, what we're voicing in our real life, right? So let's change that. Is that really working? How do you have a good dating mindset? Y'all know it's what we embody. So embody one thing about your truth this week, just one thing. What do you want to give yourself that's from you, not from anyone else? If people will say self-love is going to get your nails done. Is that true? I realized that shit was not true for me because sitting in a chair for 3 hours being tortured was not fun. And so I figured out a better way, right? So what is true for you? What is one thing that is true for you? Is it just sitting down and binging Love is Blind and enjoying it and being intentional about it, right? I would say that would be great first steps.
I agree. I agree. Lilli, thank you so much for the chat today. We didn't touch as much as I hoped on your story, but I think it came out. Like people can hear the healedness from you. Healedness? Yeah, the healed version of you. And I think that gives people a lot of hope and inspiration that whatever they're going through today, that they can become healed, whether in love, any type of relationships. And like you said, you have to go through those emotions and that trauma in order to come out on the other side, similar to how you are today and how you are continuing to build towards. So I just want to say thank you for everything today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. And yeah, we didn't touch on a lot of things. I'd be open to returning, but it was such a great time.
Amazing. And before I let you go, please tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah. Just go to that free gift that I made for your listeners, findepiclove.com, and it'll connect you everywhere. But yeah, come join me and see what we got cooking in the love machine.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.